Hello and welcome to Saffic, because a girl kissed a girl and you wrote about it.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Kid.
And I'm Saint, and you are listening to the very first episode of Saffic. Saffic, which is a pun and a play on words and an excellent one.
It is excellent. I'm pretty proud of myself for coming up with that one.
You are very smart. It encompasses exactly what this podcast is about, and that is ladies kissing ladies and other ladies writing about it.
Mm-hmm. You know, it only takes like 5 seconds for two women on screen to look at each other, and then the lesbians are all over it.
They're all over it, and they'll write about it for days. Like, one look is enough to fuel an entire, 50,000 word fanfiction.
Well
said. That is exactly the kind of fanfiction that I want to read.
Yeah.
We've been reading fanfiction for a long time, haven't we?
Oh man. I was 12 when I started, and I am not 12 anymore.
We're not 12 anymore. I think combined we have about 30 years of fanfic reading experience.
Yeah, wow. That's a lot.
Our fanfic reading experience could be a middle-aged, pencil-pushing bureaucrat, bored in an office, just waiting to die.
And just the other night we were talking, and you gave some vague description of some super old story, and I was like, yes! Immediately knew the name, and it was, I don't know how I feel about that, actually.
We've read too many fanfictions.
A lot.
Which is why we're coming to you, the rest of the world, to talk about fanfiction. Ladies kissing ladies in fanfiction. We're talking about Xena fanfiction. We're talking about Buffy fanfiction. We're talking about, more recently, we're talking about, Orphan Black.
Orphan Black,
yes.
Yeah.
Orphan Black fanfiction.
That's where it's at, as far as I'm concerned, but there's also
It's all I do with my life. The 100? Yep, I'll have to, get out of my Orphan Black hole to go read some 100 fanfiction.
Yeah, that's true.
What else? I bet Person of Interest has some good fanfiction right now.
Yeah, that fandom's pretty hoppin'.
You know what else I'm interested in? I'm interested in some Daredevil fan. I'm more into the Matt and Foggy and Karen, and there's not a lot of ladies in that scenario.
No.
Too many dicks for this podcast.
I think we're also going to talk about some cartoons, aren't we?
Well, yeah, we'll talk about all fandoms that have excellent ladies that touch their mouths with other ladies. Be that, Steven Universe has excellent ladies kissing other ladies. What else? Legend of Korra. There's some ladies that kiss ladies over there. There's some ladies kissing ladies in Adventure Time. We're going to talk about Adventure Time. My favorite fanfiction of all time is an Adventure Time fanfiction. There are a lot of excellent TV shows. How to Get Away with Murder, that's got some ladies kissing ladies. That's an excellent TV show. What else?
You got Grey's Anatomy. That's pretty big.
Grey's Anatomy? Yeah, I don't watch that garbage anymore.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, there are ladies kissing ladies all over that friggin' show.
There are ladies kissing ladies in that show, too. We'll talk about everything. We'll try and touch on most of the TV shows that are out there that are involving ladies kissing ladies.
And, more than that, I think we're interested in analyzing these characters and fanfiction as a whole.
Absolutely. You can't write good fanfiction unless you fully understand who you're working with.
Mm-hmm. And since we have read a lot of fanfiction, we've read amazing fanfiction and, some fanfiction that could be critiqued a little bit. So, we're also here to help writers become better. That's not to say that we are amazing.
We're excellent. That's not the point. We are excellent fanfic writers and excellent fanfic readers, but that is not the point.
It's not.
We're here because there are some things that look really good in fanfics and some things that don't. And as people who have read fanfiction for so long, we can look at a fanfic and say, I know exactly what the problem is in this fanfiction, and it's this. These characters are behaving in a one-dimensional way.
Mm-hmm.
This is written in the present tense. Nobody likes that. This is written, you can look at a fanfic, when you've read fanfic for so long, you can look at a fanfic, and instead of going like, something's just not right here, I can't quite put my finger on it, you can put your fucking finger on it. You can be like, this is the problem, this is why this fanfiction is garbage. We don't want garbage fanfic, we want good fanfic. So we're gonna talk about good fanfiction, we're gonna talk about what makes good fanfiction, we're gonna talk about what makes not so good fanfiction, so that everybody can kind of take away and make better fanfiction.
Yeah, we'd like to bring the discourse out of the comment section. For sure.
You want there to be a comment section again.
Oh yeah, because now it's not the same. It's not the same.
There's no comment section anymore.
You say, yes, I like, give me more.
Yep, hit the thumbs up button.
So with all of that in mind, what do you look for in fan fiction?
I look for good writing, which I know is like a really broad thing to say, but it really boils down to that. There's so many different aspects that condense into the one thing that is like good writing, right? Like your characters have to be good. And when I say that, I mean like you have to be knowledgeable about your characters. It's not just like, I've watched this show and I kind of get this person, or I think I kind of get this person. Like, you have to really get that person, right?
Yeah,
like,
you have to, not only do you have to get them, I think you have to imagine them complexly.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Let's talk about one of those people. Who do you see in a fanfic a lot that is like, could use some work?
Who's really flat? Rachel Duncan.
Rachel Duncan is always really flat in fanfiction, which is the worst because, can we be serious for a minute? She's one of the most complex characters in Orphan Black.
Absolutely. No, absolutely.
People write her off as, how do they write her off, kid?
She's a bitter bitch.
She's a bitter bitch. She's a flat and bitter bitch. We all know that's not true. You've watched Orphan Black. You know it's not true. Rachel Duncan is complex. She's a flourishing human being. In a sea of complex characters, Rachel Duncan still shines. But people write her off as flat. Cosima, this is another problem. People write her off as one facet of her personality.
Which is
She's
smart.
So much more than that, right? She's not just smart, cute, and a stoner. She's also... she is those things, but she's also petty. She's also childish. She's also intensely human. She's also terrified of death. And faced with her own mortality. She's so many different things, and people think that just because their fan fiction is about this one thing, that they have to ignore all of the other stuff. That's not true. You can't do that.
Yes.
Another thing that makes great writing is your grammar just needs to be decent. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm terrible. I'm like the king of run-on sentences.
I am the queen of commas.
Yeah, every sentence has like 7 commas. And I have like a very distinct, like, I'm like, and this, comma, and this, and comma, and this. And all of the sentences look exactly the same. And that's something that you have to like go back and you have to deal with. And it's important that you have somebody who knows your writing style and can identify those things immediately and shut that shit down.
You need a
battle buddy. You
know
know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, you and I, we go back and forth on trading our pieces that we're working on, and sometimes we're like patting each other on the back, and then other times we're like, listen here.
Yeah. You need a battle buddy.
Yeah.
You need somebody not only who's not going to read your stuff and go, man, that's really good. You need somebody who's going to shut your shit down.
Yeah. I mean, because we're all full of it at some point or another.
Yeah. That's something that's important. You need somebody who can read your work and identify the good pieces, cut out the bad pieces, and if you can't find somebody to do that for you, you need to do it yourself, and you need to, like, buckle down and focus. The grammar is important, the spelling is important, but it's not as important as the flow. Make the fan fiction sound good. Read it in your head.
Yes.
Read it in your head, read it out loud, make it sure it sounds good.
Yes, pacing and flow and all of those things are very important, and I do anticipate that we're going to be talking about them at length at another time.
Absolutely. All these things we'll talk about at length at another time.
So basically, one of the only other things that I have to add to that list, other than characterization and the basics such as grammar and having somebody edit for you, is whenever you are approaching your story, I think it's important to see how it's going to be presented to other people. And you may think that writing in Delphine's head is the best way to tell your story. But it's also important to imagine the other ways you can present the story. And by talking about this, I'm not only talking about what POV you write in, I'm talking about what tense you write in.
You hate present tense.
I hate it. It is.
Let me tell you, I have recommended like really amazing stories to Kid, and she'll look at it and she'll text me back and be like, dude, I can't, it's in present tense.
No, but
like she has missed out on excellent work.
I put in the work though. I try so hard. I read it, and I read it, and I read it, and then like 2 pages later, I can't do it anymore.
I think that present tense is what's happening now. It's like the in tense. And we've got you and me who have been reading fanfiction for so long, we're like old geezers. We're like, not past tense. Xena fanfiction would never be in present tense. Present tense is in right now. It's in right now, and the kids are writing in present tense. And of course, when I open it up and I see it's in present tense, I'm like, oh no. You gotta read it. You gotta give it a try.
So maybe I will grow as a person, but that's what I had to add to that list. That's definitely something that I look for, the way that a story is presented.
And it is really important to, when you sit down and you're planning on writing a story, you need to when you're deciding point of view, when you're deciding tense, when you're deciding all of those things, it's really important to see what fits your story. Like, for example, writing in present tense may be a really good idea if, your character is going to die at the end.
Yeah.
Because if you're writing in past tense, who is talking? If they're dead at the end, who's talking? It's just important to make sure that the tense and the point of view and the format that you've chosen fit well with your story. Some people do wacky shit. And wacky shit is cool if you're doing it for art. But sometimes you're just doing it to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or because you think it's a cool idea. And if it makes the difference between a bunch of squiggly lines and a Jackson Pollock painting. Like you can have cool shit just to do cool shit and it comes out looking like a bunch of squiggly lines. If you want a Jackson Pollock, you have to sit down and you have to decide, is this what's best for my piece? Is this what's going to make this fanfiction unique and interesting? I think those are important things to consider when you're considering tense and point of view.
Absolutely. And that's a pretty long list that we look for in fanfiction. I definitely don't have a checklist. Whenever I open up something and I go through, I will read fanfiction that is just not where I want it to be, and I'll love it. I'll love it. Don't get me wrong, but
you've read some stuff that I have thrown away.
You threw it away so fast, and I just stuck with it until the bitter end of the trilogy.
End of the trilogy. It's largely gonna be like that. There are gonna be fanfictions that people love that are complete garbage, and there are gonna be fanfictions that are really great that people don't know about. And that's just kind of the way it is. Everybody looks for something different. We would be interested in knowing what you guys look for in fanfiction. What are the things that stand out? What are the things that make you go, oh, this is totally worth reading? Or, what makes you look at a fanfiction and go, I don't want to read this. This is painful to read. What are those kind of things for you? For Kid, it's present tense.
Yeah, that's true. So, Saint, I want you to think back, all the way back,
yes,
to your very first experience with fanfiction. And I want you to tell me about that.
Okay, I was a kid. I've always been super interested in writing. I've always been a writer. I was a kid. I was sitting down at the internet, as you do as a child. I was looking up writing, stuff about writing, and I stumbled across what I later found out was a Xena Uberfic, but at the time I read it and I didn't know what it was. Impressionable Eyes, this filthy fanfiction. There was butt sex. There was 100% butt sex. That fanfiction is still on the internet to this day. I have gone and found it. It's, actually, it was a really good fanfic. It was like Xena Conqueror, Body Slave style. It wasn't the Conqueror series, which is an excellent fanfiction that we will, of course, talk about later. But it was, a raunchy, Conqueror style, Xena Uber. So what about you? What was your first experience with fanfiction?
Oh boy. Well, it wasn't Xena. It was Buffy. When I was a little kiddo, I used to spend a lot of time on that UPN Buffy site where they had like a chat room and like games.
For sure.
Oh, I was like so into that. So, I was doing some search engine. I was looking up Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Search?
Yeah. And, I clicked on this random link, and it looked innocuous enough. I ended up reading, Anya Willow porn.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like on a dryer in the basement, man. It was like, I was like 12.
Whose basement?
The Summers house.
Oh, the basement in the Summers house?
Yeah, so they were having like a meeting or whatever. Like everyone, all of the potentials, and of course Kennedy was there, and
Oh, it was the season 7 fanfic.
Season 7, yeah, and everyone else went upstairs, and Willow and Anya, they just had something to discuss downstairs.
Yeah, obviously Willow still not healed over the loss of Tara. Anya probably a little salty about being left at the altar. Finger bang. Makes perfect sense.
Oh boy, yeah. So that was my first, and I ended up clicking back to the site that it was archived on, and it turned out to be the Mystic Muse, and I didn't leave Mystic Muse for years.
And no one ever should.
Yeah.
Because it's an excellent place. What was your first ship? Like, what was your first?
Oh, my first ship is incredibly predictable.
Willow and Tara?
Willow and Tara, yeah.
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 Me too, for sure.
Oh man, I was obsessed.
Yeah. Did you frequent the Kitten, the Witch, and the Bad Wardrobe?
I did. Different colored pens.
Different colored pens was the place to be. I wrote a lot of fan fiction on that website.
You did. I was not as active as you were. I was mostly into the reading of the fics that were on that site.
Yeah.
It's funny to think, I might have read your stories before I even ever knew who you were.
That would be crazy.
Right.
Did you ever read a story called Bats and Cats? It was a Batman.
Is this something you wrote?
I wrote it with a friend of mine, okay? It was excellent.
I'm sure it was like highbrow.
What about the Star Trek Wrath of Khan AU? Did you read that?
Yeah, dude, listen, I was like 13. I don't remember this shit.
Oh, alright.
No.
You're the one who brought it up.
I know. It's just, they all kind of blurred together at a certain point.
Yeah.
All of that Willow Tara fanfiction. It was, actually, I take that back. I take what I was about to say back. It was very different fanfictions in that pairing.
Yeah.
You people got very inventive.
Yeah, I wrote a Star Trek Wrath of Khan AU. What are you talking about, inventive? Buffy AU is crazier than, or Buffy fandom is crazier than people think it was.
Buffy fandom was pretty kooky. Yeah, there was a lot of crossovers. One thing that I remember from the Buffy fandom was that there was like an insane amount of crossover stories.
Absolutely.
So, turnabout is fair play. What was the first like fandom or couple you were into?
I would say it was Willow and Tara.
Yeah, same please. Yeah.
Yeah, but the only difference with me was I also shipped Willow and Kennedy.
You don't assume that I did not.
I got kicked off the kitten board for that.
They blacklisted you.
They blacklisted me. 13 years old, got blacklisted. I was living that at that time.
You're a little rebel, dude.
I was blacklisted. You can't say Kennedy's name on the not allowed.
It's she who shall not be named.
That was actually what we called her, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. No, I definitely, I was one of those people, I was in like 5th grade when, Buffy ended.
Yeah.
And even at that time, I was like sitting in front of my TV watching season 7, like, yeah, I totally see the reason why Tara was killed and how Willow's character development was.
That's something very important that involves fan fiction, talking about denial, wish fulfillment, and rewriting history.
Oh man, huge things that we are definitely going to talk about.
Particularly pertinent at this time in our lives with Delphine and Lexa both getting a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very pertinent in this day and age in the Sapphic lesbian fanfiction genre. Kid.
Yes!
If you had one favorite fanfiction, you are only allowed to bring one fanfiction to like a deserted ass island, what would it be?
Can I cheat?
No.
No.
Why? What is your cheating stipulation?
My stipulation in this case is that I want to bring one fanfiction series.
I already know what your answer is. Yes, you can say it.
So if I could only read one series, like over and over again for the rest of my life, and I had to choose, it would definitely be the Conqueror series by L.J. Moss.
Conqueror series by L.J. Moss is an excellent choice. And it's not fair that you're cheating, because instead of reading one fanfiction over and over drive you insane, you get to read like 3 fanfictions over.
Oh yeah, I get a full arc.
Yeah. 3 or 4, however many there were.
Okay, first of all, for those of you who do not know, it is a Xena fanfiction. And It is a subset of Xena fanfiction known as the Conqueror.
The Conqueror AU.
Yeah, it's a Conqueror AU. It's where Xena was never reformed, and she became the conqueror of the known world.
Yes.
And she's brutal, and she's like dark and tortured,
and Gabby is almost always portrayed as a body slave, namely because Xena was never there to save her in episode 1, so she gets sold to slavers, ends up as a body slave, and somewhere down the line, Conqueror of the known world Xena runs into tiny, adorable body slave Gabby, and they get all tangled up.
Yeah, and the reason why I really enjoyed that story in particular is because Xena and Gabrielle in Conqueror stories, and even in, regular Xena fanfictions, they do tend to be portrayed one way. And I really appreciated how L.J. Moss, she imagined Xena complexly and Gabrielle complexly, because usually in stories like that, Xena is like just overbearingly tough and like brittle, and then Gabrielle is defeated, and it's Gabrielle is strong in the Conqueror series, but she doesn't know it yet.
Right, and you see an aging Conqueror. You see Xena is older in this story than she is in a lot of Conqueror stories. So she's kind of worn down by age. She's worn down by, she's very tired. And she's got Gabby who is not so broken, as opposed to like the standard, like Gabby like soothes her warrior heart. It's not so much in the Conqueror series. Conqueror series is an excellent series.
It is, and you should read it.
I have read it.
No, not you.
Oh, we'll put a link to it.
All right, so Saint.
Yeah.
What is your favorite fanfiction? I think you already mentioned this earlier, but go ahead.
My favorite fanfiction is only available on Tumblr. I will scrummage around and I will find the first chapter. It is written by Summer Lightning. Is the URL, the blog, Summer Lightning on Tumblr. It is called Spindle Spire. It is a sugarless gum that is, for those of you not in the know, that is Marceline and Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time. It is truly, words can't express. Like, if I could one day write that well, I would just die. Like, I would just die happy. If I could ever, like, the writing,
You've mentioned before about this story in particular that it's the visual imagery.
Yes,
that really got
100%. That's visual imagery is really something that I very much enjoy in fan fiction. It's something that I really liked about Melissa Good's Journey of Soulmate series.
Yes.
Which I'm sure we'll talk about more later. That's also an excellent series. But this story, Spindle Spire, it's post-apocalyptic Adventure Time, which I realize that all of Adventure Time is post-apocalyptic, but this is like post-apocalyptic, like double post-apocalyptic.
Is it like dark?
It is. It's very dark. But it's wonderful. It's really excellent.
So I think that one thing that you and I both adore that people often tend to abhor is angst.
Mm-hmm.
I think that no character grows when everything's happy.
Nobody grows through happiness.
Yeah, nobody does. And I enjoy when my characters suffer.
You sound so sadistic. I think that I'm one of those people who definitely when things are happy and things are good, that's cool and you see this side of people and it's really interesting. But when you throw somebody down in the dirt and you kick their face in, that's when you find out who somebody is.
When they either stand back up or don't.
Yeah.
That's the moment.
Did they wipe the blood off their face or did they cry in the dirt?
And there is one show that does this beautifully.
What show is that, kid?
And it is Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That's a nice show.
Yeah.
Are there any gay ladies in Walking Dead?
There's Tara, and forgive me for those of you who are super fans. I haven't really seen most of the recent episodes. There's this lady from Alexandria who Tara ended up getting with, I believe. I do not know her name. I apologize. But there were two, and actually, spoilers, I think they both might be dead.
Oh.
I don't know, but yes, there were some Lady Lovins. And
I like Lady Lovins.
Yeah, so, and if not full canon Lady Lovins, I'm sure the internet has things to offer.
Like we said, all it takes is one look.
One look. Longer than 5 seconds.
Right. One longing look.
So, along with, the main topics we're going to be discussing every week, we also have ideas for a few recurring segments to kind of, bring up reoccurring things that we want to continue to talk about. Such as tropes, which ones we love, which ones we hate, which ones you should probably think about including, maybe?
Because who doesn't love a good trope?
On top of that, we would also like to do, fanfiction recommendations. And we're not just interested in throwing out to you guys what we think you should read. We really would like to hear about the things you're reading and the things that you think are worthwhile. They don't even have to be from the fandoms that we talk about on the show. We are always open to new Lady Lovins.
We are so ass deep in Orphan Black right now that we can't see the persons of interests for the 100s.
Wait. There are shows on right now other than Orphan Black?
What?
Ah!
What? So if you have a really excellent person of interest fic that you've been reading, you know about it, you think it's amazing, an excellent Lost Girl fic, a fantastic Orange is the New Black fic, send it our way. Let us know what you think about it. Don't be like, hey, I read this and it's cool, you should check it out. Be like, hey, listen, I read this and these are the things that I think are really incredible about it. Convince me to read it because I'm a busy person.
Right, okay, so fic recommendations, and of course, one of our main missions in doing this is to help writers write better. So we want to have a reoccurring segment for writing tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the one we're going to do this week. But before we go into that, there's something more important to discuss. We are interested in furthering the discourse of fanfiction, as we mentioned before. Yeah. So once a month, we really want to dig deep, sink our friggin' claws into one fanfiction.
One fanfiction a month.
One. And we are interested in coming up with a grading system for these fics. Not like if you get an F, you're bad. I don't think it's going to be necessarily like that. It's just going to be an analytical system that we're going to use to analyze. That's a lot of analyzing.
We love analyzing.
Wow, yeah.
We're analyzers.
We are. Well, why don't you talk a little bit more about that, because I know that this is your baby.
I've attempted this before, where I've taken, it was Orphan Black Fix at the time, and I took a lot of the stories that I was reading, and I was super interested in boiling it down and at a really scientific way and figuring out what makes this fanfiction really good and this fanfiction really bad. So I wanted to boil it down. I had a list of criteria, and I gave them 1 to 5 stars in each category and would write some comments about what I thought about each fic in each category. There were things like how is the writing, just in general? How is this person make sense with their writing? How is the plot? That was another thing. Plot is, I can give or take with plot. I don't even care if it's a shitty plot, if the characters are excellent, but that's me, personally. How is the ease of reading? Is it jump tenses? Does it jump point of view? Does it, are the chapters too short, too long? And how is the flow? Were there odd chapter breaks? Were there really nice setups, good segues? Sometimes, if chapters are different lengths, that can be kind of distracting. Things like that I could, organize and kind of systematically grade and, to try and find out, what fic is truly great and why.
With that, I think that there's a desire to not bash a fic.
No, nobody wants to bash.
No, yeah, but by going through it line by line and analyzing its elements, we can come up with more logical reasons why or why not this fic was a certain way.
I'm interested in the ultimate fic serum.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to boil down fics to their pure elements.
Wow. Wow, you're interested in the theory of everything, aren't you? One equation to solve them all. So, with that, we would also like to know what other recurring segments you think would be cool. Yeah. We definitely want to tailor this show, not just to our liking, because we know how biased we are. We are the old ladies sitting on the porch being like,
"You damn millennials with your AO3s."
Right, exactly. And there's probably going to be a lot of that, to be honest, because we have things to say. We do. But just let us know. There will be an email address floating around somewhere, wherever this is posted.
Tumblr, undoubtedly.
Well, yes.
We have Tumblrs. Do you still have a Tumblr?
No.
You're gonna have to make one.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, well, by the time this posts, I will have a Tumblr.
Yeah, we have our own Tumblrs. We'll have an official Saffic Tumblr.
It's gonna be so legit.
It'll be legit. We'll try and get a logo. It'll be a thing.
Yes. We should go into our writing tip.
This week, our writing tip is... Are you ready for this?
Yes.
It's playlists. It's music, and it's using music to write better.
Using music to write better.
Using music to write better. This is something that I do all the time. And that is, if you're sitting down, you're writing, it's easy to just crank out stuff, but it's just words on paper unless you've got some, serious backing emotion, right?
It's all about the headspace.
It's all about the headspace. So, a lot of people write to music. You want a sad scene, you listen to sad music, right? That makes sense. So you've got a playlist of, basic emotions. Angry scene, sad scene, happy scene, sexy scene. And you've got your music that you listen to for that. But there are also songs that you listen to and you're like, damn, this is so this one specific ship that it won't shut up, right? There's always songs where you hear it and you're like, all I can think about is this one specific ship. For example, Michelle Branch, Goodbye to You.
Yes.
What ship am I?
You're talking about Willow and Tara right now.
I am talking about Willow and Tara right now. So there are songs that will hit you and you think of a specific ship. Or, more specifically, you can think of a specific character. There are some songs that you hear them and you're like, this is really, It reminds me of this character. It puts me in focus of this character. It puts me in the mind space of this character. So you have playlists for your ships. You have playlists for your characters. You have playlists for basic emotions. And another important playlist to have is a playlist for every fanfic you're writing. I have a playlist for every work in progress fanfiction that I have. And it's songs that, it's not about the lyrics, it's about the sound. I'm writing a high school AU, I want something bouncy, I want something energetic, I want something, that makes me feel young and free. I'm writing a fanfic about the ocean, I want some sweet beach tunes. I want something that when I close my eyes and listen to it, I can feel the sand under my feet. I want those things that it makes writing easier. It puts you in the headspace to write quickly, effectively, and with intense emotion.
That is good.
That's your writing tip for the week.
Yeah, that's your writing tip for the week.
Don't build your playlists, kid.
You know, it would be cool if on like 8 tracks we could put together some of these playlists.
You know what? I have my playlist set up, and the plan is always once that thing gets published, I'll put the tracks up on 8 tracks. I just never get around to it. So I've got like a bunch of playlists for already completed fics that I just haven't put the playlists out there yet. I've actually had somebody do an 8 tracks playlist for one of my fics. That was really sweet.
Was that for Cable Car?
It was for Cable Car. Somebody did a really nice 8 tracks.
Nice.
It was very sweet.
So there you go, using music to write better.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. That was our first episode. We've got like an hour worth of recording done. I don't know how much of it is going to end up in the podcast. I don't know how long these podcasts are going to be. Kid, do you have any
You know, I think we should aim for around 45 minutes to an hour. I don't know. Depends on the topic. You and I can get pretty loquacious at times.
We can. I think this podcast will probably be shorter than some of the other ones we'll do. Once we get really into it, we will rip roar off. We will go on about a topic. So as this is the first episode, we're kind of stumbling around a little bit. We're a little awkward. We're kind of working with it.
Our audio is probably terrible.
Our audio is terrible. We're using in-computer microphones. That's something that we will try and deal with. We're gonna tweak audio levels and all of that stuff in post-production. We're gonna work on editing. Hopefully that'll all get better with time, I'm assuming. So thank you for sticking with us for the first episode of Saffic.
Yay!
We're going to be, I think our base of operations is probably going to be Tumblr. We'll have an official Tumblr. We both have personal Tumblrs. We will put all of that description, all of that information floating around in that description area. I almost called it a doobly-doo.
Trademark?
In the trademark. Copyright infringement. In the description section, we'll put all that information on where you can find us, how you can get in touch with us. We'll put an email on there. You'll be able to message us on Tumblr. Feel free to share this with your friends. Feel free to get involved. Engaging your audience is something that's really important in fan fiction, and it's something that's really important to us as people and as creators. We're really super interested in what you guys have to say, what you guys think about, not only just about the podcast, but what are your thoughts on fan fiction? We love fan fiction. That's what this is about, guys. So we're super interested to hear everything you have to say. And I think that we're going to go ahead and wrap this up.
I think that about ends it for the day. Well, thanks for sticking with us this far, soldiers. And we hope to see you again soon.
My queer soldiers!
Queer soldiers! Oh, alright, this is getting out of hand. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.